What is going on, guys? I hope you're doing well. Today we will look at my updated Kaido list for the OP1 that just got released this Friday, and this is a deck that I'll be playing for the first week of the release of the game. So I hope you enjoy. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more deck list gameplay of One Piece. Leave a like if you're excited about the release of OP1, and let me know in the comments below which deck are you building. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for this deck we have the full purple Kaido, and as you all know, Kaido is the ramp master of One Piece. He's the one that wants to get the downs as fast as possible, and for that we have cards like Jack. So for this deck I decided to reduce the Jack count to 2 because even though I can easily see it getting it, like having an additional Jack, I still think there are better cards that can utilize the effect more often and have a better counter. So for 3 cost, 4,000 attack and 1,000 of counters on play effect, we trash a card from our hand and we set 1 down active. And what I mean by having better cards than this Jack is this Sasaki. So pretty much Sasaki, for the same amount of cost and same attack, you have an increase in counter, so it becomes a 2k counter. I have it at 3 because even though it is a 2k counters, I don't need to have 4 of them because we have other 2k counters. But like I said, I feel like this attack, even if it costs a little bit more, is still an improvement because you can do that every turn you attack. So for 1 down attached, when you attack, you trash a card from your hand and you add a dawn, but it is rested. So that is the trade-off to being able to do that every single turn that Sasaki is on the field and can attack. So yeah, so that's why I reduced my count to Jack to 2, and I put 3 Sasaki because you have the ramp power and you have the counter. And for the next card that allows us to ramp, of course, is Onigashima. Onigashima is like the, maybe not the main card, but a very important card in the Kaido deck. If you don't have Onigashima on turn 2, you pretty much slow down tremendously. And even though you have these sort of cards, they're like Jack, you can only use it once on play, and then Sasaki, even though you can do it repeatedly, it's really easy to get rid of. So that's why you need the consistency of Onigashima to be able to gain control of the game. Alright, so that's it for the ramp cards. Now we have our blockers. So since you play the ramp style, you have to have a defensive line to be able to get to your big guys. So that's for Black Maria. That formula did not change since the super pre-release format. 4 blockers, 2 cost, 2k, 1k counter. Nothing much to say, pretty solid blocker that you wish to have in your hand in your second turn or in your first turn if you go second. So this card, very good. So as an addition to the blocker lines, you have Kurozumi. So this is a new blocker that came out in OP1 and serves the same purpose as Black Maria, but get an additional 1k of damage. So I haven't really played a game where that extra 1,000 made a difference, but I'm pretty sure if you decide to block and counter, it will come in handy. But for now, simple blocker, 1k counter. What else can you ask for? And last but not least, for the blockers, of course you have to run Queen. Queen, since the super pre-release, is probably the best blocker you can have in the Kaido deck. For 5 cause, 6k counter, 6k attack, for 1k counter, on play effect, for 1 Dawn that you put back in your deck, you draw 2 cards and you trash 1 card. So this is very good to let you dig through your deck, and also to discard the extra Onigashima that you often have in your hand. So very valuable. 6k, you can easily block and counter, make it survive till next turn to redo the same thing, or to just block and sacrifice it for something better. All right, so that's it for the blockers. So now we have all the other cards, all the on-play effects. So to begin with, Who's Who. Who's Who in the Super Pre-Release format was very powerful. Not only is it a trigger, but you have the on-play effect. For one Dawn, you can KO a character that's 3 or less. Very powerful. And I believe in my last Kaido list that I posted on my channel, so if you want to check that out, you can go subscribe to my channel, go check that video to see the difference from when I tested before the set came out till today. So the main reason why I put a Who's Who back into the deck is because of all the rush decks. Like honestly, Zoro, Law, and even all the green players, it's very difficult to deal with. So you need to be able to destroy all their utility cards or their rush card, so that you can at least breathe a bit and then like set up your board so they have less resources to attack you. Or you can keep one in your hand until late game, then you play it and you KO one of the blockers and you go for a win with the ability of Kaido and all the rest of your board. So you have that. The next one is Oti. Have 4 Oti. Since they're super pre-release, we keep it at 4, mainly because it's a 2k counter. So for 4 and 5,000 attack, on play effect, for 1 Dawn that you put back to your deck, you can play 1 Page One that's 4 costs or less from your hand. And yeah, that did not change from my list. I still play Page One, but this time I reduced it to 1. I still believe that Page One is a really good card. It's because of the ability of being able to pay 1 down to attack an active. I think that's very, very good, especially since red cards have a lot of abilities that do not rest their characters. So if you let them do that often, you're gonna get in real big trouble. So, or you can just attack the blockers directly instead of just waiting for them to block the attack that you want to hit leader. You just destroy the blockers. So yeah, so like it's to give myself a little bit of flexibility, or just use it as a counter, right? So like if you're not playing it, you use it as a counter. So either way, I think it's pretty good. All right, so next is the next 2k counter that we have in the deck. X-Drake, very good card that came out in OP01. You have 5 cost for 5k damage, 2k counter. The on-play effect, for 1 down that you put back to your deck, your opponent gets to discard 1 card from their hand. And this ability has won me the game multiple times because it goes a long way making your opponent discard a card, especially if they choose to discard a counter. Because a lot of the games that I've played, it all resorts to the it all leads up to like the amount of counters that you have. So if you're missing one at the end, that could cost you the game. So that's why I think hand disruption is very important in this game, and this is why we play 4 of X Drake. And if you don't have the opportunity to play it for the ability, you still have the 2k counters. So that's a very good card. Then we have King. King, the 6-cost King for 7,000 attack, no counter, on play effect. For 1 down that you put back, you get to destroy 4 cost or less. So this is the number that we had for the super priorities format, and I think honestly with all the aggression and all the aggro decks that we have, I think 2 is enough, because you really want to have more lower cost cards so that you can do small combos to be able to disrupt a lot more than just dropping the king at 6 cost, and most of the time you won't have anything else to play. But like, let's face it, like the ability is, it's insane, right? A 4 cost, almost all the blockers you're gonna get to destroy, but it's still just 4 cost. So that's why I don't think it's important to have it at like 3 or 4, because at some point your opponent is gonna have like 5 or higher in their field. So it is a little bit less important to have multiple, but like I said, for blockers it's pretty good. And then the next one is the new King, the 7-cost King for 7k attack. Similar to the old King, for 2 dawns you get to destroy not 1 but 2 characters, but the difference is 1 character can only be 3 or less, and then the second character is 2 or less. So this is very, very good when you hit it at 7 dawn, because you ramp up, so you'll have your 7k your 7 dawns faster than your opponent, so chances are he's gonna have small cost characters. So that's when you can play that card and lower his field. But the same reasoning as the previous King, eventually you'll go past that point where, like, unless they have blockers, you won't have a lot of 3 or 2 cost characters on your opponent's field. So like you won't get to utilize the full potential towards the end game. But it's still, both the Kings are still big bodies that you can just put on the field for 7k damage. It's pretty good. And then we have the 9-cost Kaido. The 9-cost Kaido, I mean, since the earlier format, it has been the key of the deck, right? Like we can say that, like, if the 2 most important cards of the deck are Onigashima and then this Kaido, because not only does it destroy a 6 or less cost, it also gains rush, and it's a 9 cost for 10k, and there's nothing so far in this game that can disrupt or destroy a 9 cost. Like, they cannot bounce it back to your hand, they cannot destroy it unless you're playing against red and they lower the attack and then they do the Jet's Pistol. So like, unless they're willing to waste a lot of resources, it's really hard to get rid of Kaido. So that's why we have it at 3. 4, it gets a little bit too clunky, especially since we have the new Kaido. We have the new 10k Kaido, and I leave it at 2 because 10k, like, you won't get to play it a lot. And I know, like, if it's a mirror matchup, you have the chance to play both of them. But like, if you're playing against a rush deck or a green deck, you won't play both of them. You'll play one at most and then try to win as fast as possible, because they will be able to rebuild their board. And one of the reasons why I don't think it's as good as people think, it's because it costs 10 first of all. And then you have to bring back 6 Dons back to your deck. And yes, it destroys everything, but that's it. It just destroys everything, and you don't get to play anything else. You don't get an extra blocker. You don't get like to put downs to your leader to attack like for more damage. Like, and that's it. So you have to be able to play it at the right time, because if you play it too late, like you can wipe up the board, but then like after that they can like put all their rush cards like Sanji, Zoro, or even the Luffy, and then they have like 2 attacks, one with the leader and one with the characters that they have, and they can easily end the game. So that's why I don't think it's as good as people think, but it's still pretty necessary to have in the deck, because yes, it can save your life a lot of times. So that's why I just leave it at 2. And that's it for the characters. Next is the events. The events, nothing changed much with the Blast Breath. Blast Breath, one of the best event counters in this format for now. For one Don you put back, your character or leader gets 4,000 attack. It's pretty good, doesn't cost a lot, and you will have enough resources to play. And then the next one, and the new one that we got in this set, is Thunder Bagua. So for 2, your leader or character gets 4,000, but if you have 2 or less life cards, you get a Dawn back on the field and you rested. And it also has a trigger that just adds a Dawn to the field, and you set it as active. So I put it at 3 because like you can like one for one hope to get it as a trigger, and then you can use it. You can freely use it as a trigger, and you don't have to worry because you still have 2 on your deck that you can activate it as counters. And you can also discard it if like for queen or anything. So having 3 gives you a little bit of flexibility, or if in the late game you don't have much to play, you leave like 6 Dons active for some reason, and then you'll be able to play multiple of them. So yeah, and it's an important card to get, so that's why you increase the ratio. So that's it for the Kaido deck, and I hope you enjoy. And like, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content like that. I'll be playing a lot of local tournaments, playing this deck, and I'll also be trying the blue purple Kaido that hopefully when I get my my booster box I'll be able to build. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you want to see that deck list and my somewhat analysis or gameplay of the deck. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoy this this video, or if you approve of the list. If I have a solid list, let me know, and leave in the comment what you would change or what modifications you would do to this deck, or how do you play the Kaido. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, before I forget, I have a podcast. I'll put the title right here. I have a podcast with my friend Lokister. We talk about the TCG, anime, manhwas, mangas, and all sorts of things. So make sure to check it out. I'll leave the link in the description below. So go check it out. Say hi. Say that you came through from this channel, and let me know which manhwa is your favorite. And yeah, so I'll see you guys over there.